Star family, hello, hello, hello. Welcome to this lunar cycle overview. It is Scorpio Ophiuchus season, which means December 1st new moon aligns with Alpha Scorpio Antares, the heart of the scorpion, and the full moon December 15th in late Taurus reflects a sun, which will be with Alpha Ophiuchus, Ras Al Hag. So we have alpha stars involved in the new and full moon. The basic template here talks about difficult processes and opportunities to take the high road within it all. Scorpio Ophiuchus is famous for the magic and power of transformation, to turn shit to fertilizer to flowers, and work skillfully with difficult material to create room for new growth or even new beginnings altogether. In this video, I'm going to detail the major lunar events and the planetary transits for this month, December 1st through December 30th. And we'll take a little peek at the end at the upcoming Sagittarius new moon, December 30th, just to sort of see where we're going. All right, we'll start with the planetarium view just to get oriented to the skies. We have the sun and moon moving through Scorpio, right over a star that's hidden behind the moon in this view. But we have Mercury in Ophiuchus, Venus, Ceres, and Pluto. That's dwarf planet Ceres between Mars and Jupiter. In late Sag, we have Saturn making his way through Aquarius slowly, as is his style. He's been there quite a while. We have Neptune in Pisces with the North Node, Chiron and Eris, dwarf planet Eris, a trans-Neptunian object. We have Uranus in early Taurus, Jupiter making his way through late Taurus. Mars starts this lunar cycle in Cancer, and the South Node is still in Virgo, been there quite some time, and is making its way towards Leo. All right, that's the template. That's how things line up. We'll look at some of the this aspect and some of the relationships, some of the stars, and we'll break down this lunar cycle as quickly and painlessly as we can. We're looking at the new moon, 1st of December, and a new moon is a planting time. It's like a time where the energies are low, and it's a great time to set intentions, to strategize, and to having just spent some time retrospecting, to kind of adjust course for the month. It's a time to look forward to the full moon with a sense of what to expect, and that's hopefully a piece of reference this video will provide for you through the course of the month. All right, so we have a new moon in Scorpio. It's trine Mars, opposite Jupiter, square Saturn, and very exactly semi-square to Eris. 0, 0, 0. So let's break that down point by point. Looking at Scorpio, just in the sidereal mythology, the sense of an archetype is Scorpion hasn't always been unlucky. You've got to get the idea that the Scorpion is like lower or evil or dark or bad. I think we have to strike this idea and understand that this has always represented a sort of warrior, a sort of martial energy, a martial spirit. And it's always represented the animal side of ourselves as humans, like the claws and teeth that we don't really have. I mean, we have teeth, but they're not sharp. They're not terrible. We don't have our animal side is different. It's more psychological. It's the power to defend ourselves and the power to hurt others, and it's the responsibilities, the set of responsibilities that come with that power. It's all symbolized by Scorpio. And Antares, Alpha Scorpio, the most powerful star by far, is maybe, like, arguably the oldest star in astrology. It might be the kind of one that started it all. Like, as bodies moved past Antares, it was like, whoa, something happened. Because it's very, very powerful. I want to take a little time. I have a lot of notes. I have Vivian Robson and Joseph Rigger and Bernadette Brady. And I want to say, just to summarize all that in brief, it's a powerful star. Antares is understood to give success. Just hand it. But the success is understood to come with tests. And for this reason, Joseph Rigger says, this conjunction, speaking about Sun, Moon, and Antares, gives to those who deserve it. And the test, this sort of, how do you say? This is a test around drama. Brady says, this is a powerful star, and its presence in a chart implies going to extremes, either intentionally or unintentionally. Success will come, as this is one of the royal stars, but only through continually putting your efforts to the test and honing them through the fires of experience. The planet in contact with Aries will indicate how this energy will be expressed, and the danger in any contact is to seek drama simply for the thrill. If this happens, it can lead to the loss of all that has been gained. So on the one hand, it's a success star, and on the other hand, it's a downfall star. And when you look up Antares, you'll see a lot of verbiage by the sort of classic and well-respected star experts around Antares being dreadful. It's not dreadful. It gives power and it gives success in it, and it has a martial nature. But the success itself attracts drama. And if you give in, if you use drama to your own advantage, or if you try to wield drama against others or manipulate or get caught up in, or in any way frivolously or somehow, kind of fecklessly, just try to use drama to establish yourself. Antares hates that. So we have to understand this month. Antares gives power. The power brings drama. The drama is a test. And if you fail the test, Antares doesn't care. It will take everything it gave. Now, that's an understanding that's really colored by natal analysis. And when we look at this new moon, what we're looking at is a sort of natal chart for the lunar cycle, for the month ahead. We can say very broadly that sun and moon signify the collective consciousness, and that these experiences that we have collectively are going to be colored by Antares. How it will affect any individual's chart, depends on how these placements relate there. So, we can only speak in broadest generalities when we're doing this kind of astrology. But one thing we can say about a 0-degree relationship, sesquisquare, to Eris, I just want to dive into this. There's a dive into this first, because the semi-square is understood in the context of the whole phasal cycle. It's understood to represent a period of conflict or stress, and it's actually wanting to slow a process down. Usually a waxing sesquisquare is giving information that will tell someone to consolidate, to withdraw, to go within, they'll have to consider things, and it's often because of a conflict or an oppositional experience that they have, that they're forced to kind of go within to reverse the flow of what had been happening and create new behavior. So it actually is considered the sort of buzzword here of this sesquisquadrate is there's creative energy to actualize individuality. Creative energy to actualize individuality. So it's a conflict and stress significator designed to initiate personal adaptation, designed to clarify purpose. Sesquisquares usually send people into themselves, and that conflict, the idea of conflict is represented both within the sesquisquare and by Eris very neatly. So it can be really difficult to channel Eris constructively. That's more of a learned skill in my experience. There's work here. We can channel it into work, into creating, into doing new things, or doing old things differently. That very much honors Eris. When we introduce something that breaks up the natural flow of our habits and our patterns and our conditioning. Eris does not like conditioning. Yeah, we have this most unusual and precisely zeroed, just as the sun and moon are zeroed. So is sun and moon sesquisquare Eris. So it's just part of it. It's built in. There's no getting away from the influence of Eris this month and from a difficult angle. We do have an easy angle, generally understood the trine as a harmonious and supportive aspect to Mars. Mars in Cancer tends to be more of a lover, but it will fight for what it loves. So, modern astrology gives this to Mars debilitation in Cancer, and I think that's nonsense. But in my experience, people born under Cancer Mars aren't weakened. They aren't debilitated. They're just motivated, and especially motivated to aggression by different forces, like community and clan and family, country. It's like a group. It's like a group thing. They get Mars in Cancer is like I said, lover, not a fighter. But if you mess with the family, they'll show you the claws. They'll show you the claws of Cancer. And to move on, we have a square to Saturn in Aquarius. Saturn here in Aquarius representing new systems, new patterns, new structures, new organizational principles. The new moon opposite Jupiter is actually T-squared by Saturn, so we can kind of bring this whole picture together and say that with a moon opposite Jupiter in Scorpio, on the heart of the Scorpion in Antares, it could be difficult to see the positive in things. I want to caution people to be careful with your reactions because Jupiter oppositions foster a certain overextension, a false optimism, and dreamy approaches when seriousness would better serve. Now, there may be challenges to groundedness and seriousness, especially around the new things that are unfolding, the new patterns of development in the collective consciousness, in global politics and power. This is finance. This is political power. And, we're stabilizing. That's a Taurus function. New patterns. That's an Aquarius function. So this could be something that could lead to certain reactivity this month that I want to caution against. And there's a very close trine between Mercury and Chiron that I think is worth mentioning. It's 0 degrees, 58 minutes, pretty close to 1 degree. And I think this will just associate the cycle as Mercury always closely follows Sun. I think it'll associate this cycle with processes, mental processes around healing, around the past, around the pattern of how we got here, and the deep truth. Mercury in Mercury in Ophiuchus is always concerned with the real truth and the deepest reality and manifestation, up to and including source. So likewise, Pisces is very connected to source, and there could be a lot of spiritual healing this month if we lean in, to being honest about how we've been hurt and how we got here. Yeah, a couple other notes. I think this trine looks heavy. We have Venus, Uranus, Venus with Pluto. And Venus is square to Eris. So Venus making contact with all the big shaking up forces in the sky. Uranus, Eris, and Pluto. This can reflect a certain tension, intensity, challenge in relationships of all kinds, not just romantic ones, but all the relationships could be under some pressure. And it's a great time to evaluate your value system very deeply. Figure out what means anything to you on a commitment level. That's especially resonant with Antares. And when it comes to living and dying, where are your values? What do you live for? What would you die for? This is all Scorpio. Commitment, life and death. This is all what's this is all going to be channeled through Sun, because Sun is the integrating point for the chart holistically. So that's why I start with Antares. That's why I start with Scorpio and kind of build out the understandings from there. What we see is stress and pressure in the relationship world, change and uncomfortable forces being levied on our one-on-one relationships. We see an urge to zeal, and especially around the difficulty accessing optimism around new forms of structure, new ideas. And Scorpio is a warrior. It will commit. It will commit totally in life or death situations. And Taurus is the heart of this energy. So I would expect intensity this month. I would expect this month to increase polarization of social issues. And I would issue a drama caution. Drama caution. Don't stir it up or try to use drama to your advantage. If you get affected by drama this month, and I mean that very broadly, just understand that we're in a cycle. We're in a short time wave, a lunar cycle, in which drama is not favored. Drama is disfavored. Drama can lead to disempowerment. Scorpio puts any bodies that move through it, and here we have Sun and Moon. Scorpio puts any bodies that move through it in contact with challenge, with breakdown, with intensity, polarization, and the death rebirth process. The joke about Scorpio is it's sex, death, and secrets. It's not smooth territory. It's not easy. It's not easy sailing. So it has its appropriate time and place in the natural cycle, and it has its good reflection of important human qualities. Again, even if we just oversimplify it to be our animal side, our claws and teeth, our human ability to defend ourselves, our territory, our loved ones. It is this and the responsibilities that come with it. All right, okay. Let's take a look at the transits. All right. Here we have the transits between December 1st, the new moon, and December 15th, the full moon. Looking forward to the 2nd. You see the first kind of activity here. This month opens and closes with Venus in contact with Uranus and Eris. So we have a square and a trine here strong on the 2nd. And that's a change or shakeup within the Venusian sphere. We can pretty much count on things to be in more of a state of upheaval under these influences. The Venusian sphere is the self relationship and the self other or I thou dynamic in all its various manifestations. Venus represents an incredibly complex character, but we can oversimplify in the interest of time. Uranus and Eris represent disruption and change. And like I said, it's a shake-up influence. And she's with Ceres Pluto in triple conjunction. So we have she's with Ceres Pluto at this time on the Sag Cap cusp. So this could broadly affect relationships. Could affect your relationships to humanity. So Mercury opposite Jupiter is, we mentioned overextension. We mentioned tendency to be over-optimistic, false hopes. That goes with Jupiter oppositions. This could affect our thinking at this time. But Sun square Saturn should bring some seriousness. It's tends towards difficulty. Saturn squares tend to create delays, and in the end, I think this could be an opportunity to integrate the individual within the system they operate in. That's one manifestation of Sun square Saturn, is that it gives people opportunities to examine any kind of over-under imbalances that are affecting the systems that they fit into. Whatever those systems might be, whatever those, it's very broadly, speaking very broadly. And Venus sextile Neptune, the textbook on this is Venus is conditional love and Neptune is unconditional love. So we have, this could stir some more profound feelings. They could be difficult feelings with Sun square Saturn. There's a harsh influence around patterns of power and the gentle universal love vibes. Those aren't really compatible. And Mercury Jupiter will make people a little reactive. So I would say be open to intensity on the 4th, but don't overreact. I would almost kind of expect it early in the month, right after the new moon. This early week just looks a little bit disruptive. And then we have some conjunctions to talk about. Ceres conjoins Pluto on the 5th, and it goes exact on the 8th, right about for the waxing quarter moon, and will be in orb till the 11th. So that's the 5th through the 11th, almost a week, will be under the influence of Ceres Pluto conjunction. And this could really affect the emotional world. This could really affect the collective powerfully. This could really be an influence where this could signify a time of some reckoning. And under this umbrella, in this little period of time, we have a lot of smaller changes, including the waxing quarter moon. So between the 5th and the 11th, we have Venus conjunct Ceres too, going exact early on the 7th. And Venus conjunct Ceres we talked about in the new moon segment. I think to very briefly put a pin in that for now, this is talking about relationship to our own humanity, to humanity outside, to humanity within, to our feeling part of that, to our feeling human and feeling part of something greater than us. So series with Venus and Pluto. At the same time, Mars stations retrograde. Mercury squares Saturn. So following on that Sun square Saturn from a couple days earlier, Mercury square Saturn, kind of another difficult influence, just generally speaking. And we'll have Venus finally conjoined to Pluto. All this in a couple days' time, 5th, 6th, 7th, and at the same time, Neptune is stationed direct. So, does the intensity slow down? No, not with Pluto conjunctions, not with Pluto conjunct to an inner planet. The intensity continues. The intensity continues into the waxing quarter moon. So we can look at that here. We can look at that here for a moment, the waxing quarter moon. And I'll just leave it up on the screen for anyone who wants to make a more thorough study for a second. And then we'll take it back. Back to the transits. So all of that happens leading up to the waxing quarter moon. And after that waxing quarter moon, we have a couple transits still in this series Pluto umbrella time, which is Venus trine sextiling the north and south nodes. She'll trine the south node, sextile the north node. So this is an influence of being able to align with what needs to be done and align with the direction forward for everyone. Venus and the nodes tend to bring about a nice appreciation of, those karmic responsibilities that are driving things forward. We can tend to move things forward for ourselves via connection with others at this time, and Venus tends towards the gentle and sophisticated. And then she opposes Mars here on the 11th through 13th, going exact on the 12th. Mars, by comparison to the gentle and sophisticated nature of Venus, tends toward the coarse and direct, but when they connect, it's very electric. It increases tension, it increases desire, but it can stress brittle relationships. So be careful at this time, because it's about the only thing going on in the sky. There's a Mercury sextile Venus, which will help with communication and artful expression of anything that gets stirred up. But we do have a signature here between the 11th and 13th of things getting stirred up, relationships getting tested, and then having to talk it out. So it'll be interesting to watch that pattern unfold. And on the 15th, we do have a couple alignments worth noting. We have Mercury station direct, and some people can be highly attuned to the direct or retrograde motion of Mercury. I myself almost never notice it, but I was born with my Mercury Kazimi combust in conjunct the Sun. So some people are very highly attuned to it. And for Sun trine Eris, we'll look at that with the transits that happen after the full moon. All right, here we are looking at the full moon chart. And yeah, the full moon tends to be a high energy time, a time of manifestation, a time of fruition, a time of dynamic tension, the tension of the opposition between the sun and moon. Just to detail the major points, the first thing is I see we have a sun on the Shaula Ras Al Hag axis. We have a moon in the stars of Orion's belt, and also with El Noth and Capella. The moon is in one of the more activated degrees activated by stars in all the sky. So tells me this full moon will be intense. The full moon's T squared by Neptune. So we have this formation, and the full moon is with Jupiter. They are conjunct for this alignment. So let's start with the sun on the Shaula Ras Al Hag axis. This connects people to poison. And by this I mean metaphorical poison. The poison, the difficult stuff, the stuff that's debilitating. Poison, the stuff that just that life material that's challenging in the extreme. This alignment of the sun reflects a need to process these things. Ras Al Hag is the healer's star. It's the head of the serpent bearer. So let's get the full moon up here. Now, Ras Al Hag is the head of this figure, Ophiuchus, who holds the serpent of serpents and stands on the tail of the scorpion. And this mythology is very significant. Bernadette Brady, in Brady's Book of Fixed Stars, says that when this star appears in a chart, the star suggests being drawn to the healing profession or a natural gift in that area. What can be healed may not be only living things, but also living ideals. This could lead one into politics or other related activities. The driving force in any case will be to repair that which is damaged, to heal. This is a star that's associated with medicine. It's associated with Medusa, whose blood from one side of her body was poison, deadly poison, and the blood from the other side of her body was panacea, medicine. This star is associated with the knowledge and the wisdom. This is the head of the snake charmer. And it's associated with the understanding that allows people to handle deadly serpents. The other star that the sun is in the degree of is Shaula, and Shaula and Lasath signify the stinger at the tail of the Scorpio. And it's not a popular star with astrologers, if you can imagine. To Manilius, it was a war star, and it symbolizes the poison sac and the stinger of the scorpion. Humans are unique in the animal kingdom regarding our physical vulnerabilities, and we don't have claws or sharp teeth. We walk with our underbellies exposed, unlike almost any other creature. We don't have much fur to protect us. And in the context of Scorpio, Shaula reflects that aspect of humanity, which is quite mental and emotional, about defending territory, like I mentioned. Scorpions are like bees. They don't attack unless they're aggressed against. They don't attack humans. They can kill prey, though. I mean, so will we. So these stars correlate with power. All the stars of Scorpio correlate with power. But this is the power to defend life and territory, the power of the warrior's weapon, the power to eat food, really, the power of life and death and the responsibilities that come with that. And on the other side of the sky, we have the moon with Jupiter. And these two get along really well. Very favorable omens. Jupiter's on a star, Rigel, Beta Orion, the star at Orion's foot. The moon is in a very activated degree. All three stars of Orion's belt. In fact, if we go back to this full moon view, we can see that the moon is in orb of all three stars, Al-Natak, Al-Nalam, and Mintaka in Orion's belt, the famous three. It's in the orb of El Nath, the star which signifies the point at the horn of the bull. And it's also in degree of fixed star Capella in Auriga. So we're not gonna really detail all that, but I want to say it's very activated degree that the moon is in. And the general influence of Orion's belt is to give strength and energy. It gives work. It gives energy of industry and work energy. It gives organizing abilities, notoriety, good fortune, lasting happiness. This is very positive. The stars of Orion's belt are very positive. And I think this Sun Moon connection, we're not really fully done fleshing this out, because there's a powerful T square here from Neptune. Neptune's with the North Node, and this is going to throw a little bit of light of confusion. Neptune squares create great confusion. Neptune squares cloud issues. They give false or misleading information. They tend toward the delusional, and all of this is accentuated when the North Node approaches Neptune. So Neptune's not on her best behavior with North Node here, and this could be a challenging influence to be aware of as Mercury stations direct. Because with Mercury stationing direct in Scorpio, we could be compelled to think. We could be fixating on topics or obsessing about certain things that seem very important to us. But we have to understand that the time for clear realization might not be now. And when we look at Mercury and we see that Mercury is stationed direct, we see this relating to this Mars-Pluto opposition by trine sextile. So Jupiter opposition tends to push things too far. Mercury station direct emphasizes mentality and communication. Mentality and communication. And in passionate, committed Scorpio, this trine sextile to Mars Pluto opposition could reflect forceful manipulation or a response to forceful manipulation. We will want to watch our speech carefully. I mean, we always want to watch our speech carefully, but around this full moon, we have Eris trine sextile the Sun-Moon axis. Now it was zeroed for the new moon. It's just perfect half a degree away for the full moon. So the forces of chaos, the forces of confusion, profound forces of change and transformation are active this month. And with this Pluto-Mars opposition, I can't emphasize enough just the value of patience and not overreacting this month could go a very long way. And it may be that the choice between that lower nature of the scorpion's tail to attack, to defend, to injure, to hurt, and the higher nature of the snake holder's head, the head of the snake holder, that dichotomy that is represented by the degree of the sun could mean that there's a choice to make. Do we work with this in further injurious ways? Do we throw gas on the fire? Do we contribute poison to a poisonous situation? Or do we react with our skills and our clarity and our sobriety, our thinking and our being able to work with poison skillfully even up to and including medicinally. Always a question of dosage. When one kills, the other heals. It's this Medusa effect. So the intensity of all this, and the choice that we may be asked to make is a choice of engagement, but skillful engagement. Engagement that takes the poison of the scorpion's tail and subdues it, a la Russell Hogg and Ophiuchus, and which, having subdued it, can then work with it, hold it, manipulate it medicinally and heal others with it. All right, we could go on and on and on and on about that, but I want to get to the waning transits. That's where I think we're going to go with this. Yeah, that looks good. So on the 15th and 16th, we've already mentioned Eris trine Sun. We mentioned that effect just now, and then we have Mercury station direct. I think I said enough about that on the full moon segment. So we have, these are the transits between that full moon and the next new moon. On December 22nd, there'll be a waning quarter moon. So as we watch the second half of this month unfold, we're starting to see on the 15th and 16th Ceres trine sextile the nodal axis. And this all looks pretty motivating and clarifying. Again, with Mercury station direct, don't fixate is the best advice I can give. If you find yourself going down rabbit holes and just like really unable to, if you're just dwelling in unhealthy ways to unhealthy extent, use your tools. Sun square Neptune, for all the source of confusion and delusion, is delightfully escapist. So listen to some music. If it's all a bit much, just kind of put a cool movie on. There's a lot of sensitivity too here between the 17th and 19th with Sun square Neptune. So you have sensitivity. We have the Sun is on the galactic center at this time. Right on the 18th, and Neptune's with the North Node. So there's a lot of dark gravity with that. This really could indicate like confusion, a need to escape. This could affect people's desire to do escapist things. Then from the 18th to the 22nd, we have Mars opposite to Ceres. And Mars is in Cancer, and Ceres is with Pluto in Capricorn. So this is about clarifying family, clarifying who your people are. Who are your tribe? Who are your people? If life is a fight, who are you with and who are you against? If life is your being here to witness, what are you witnessing, right? This is clarifying. If you're waiting, this will clarify what you're waiting for. We always need to know what we're waiting for when we're waiting. Otherwise, we can really slip into deranged patterns. If you're up to some specific intention here, this could clarify that. Mars in Cancer is awesome. This is going to be about taking new steps from the heart. This is really a time to expect even the difficult things that may be happening in your environment or the world to help to clarify, again, the new steps that you need to take from your own heart in order to proceed. And on the 19th and 20th, we have Venus trine Jupiter. My notes just say that's nice. And it is. That's nice. This is a time and things will just go a little more smoothly. All other factors notwithstanding. And on that same day, the 19th of December, we enter into Jupiter square Saturn, which will take us almost through the end of the month. That's a major major aspect. And this goes back to 2019, COVID and the financial reset. It's a Jupiter-Saturn effect, is cycles of commerce and banking. So this goes back to the last conjunction. And, the power elite at that time was saying that people would own nothing and we'd be happy about it. I think we can safely say that, for me, the major takeaway, I'll say it this way. The major takeaway is that for some people, it's just really never enough. And a great use of a really powerful influence like Jupiter square Saturn is to examine your own relationship with contentment and satisfaction and your idea of enough. Because the people that had everything 20 years ago, they weren't content then. They wanted even more, and now we have even greater consolidation of wealth into the very upper percentage of wealth holders, and a distribution of poverty through to the other 99% of humanity. And yeah, you can look at poverty in different ways, but I'd just say it looks a lot like there are some people who have wealth and other people who have debt, and basically speaking, and the division is very clear. But if you're in a spiritual poverty, like, no amount of possessions is ever going to be enough, and that has been a huge takeaway of watching the powers that be destabilize the financial system in the way that they have. So, yeah, Jupiter square Saturn, vibe check. Like, how's your condition? Can you be content? Is it possible? Or is there always a hole where your peace of mind should be? That should be like the theme of contemplations in late December, which is perfect for Christmas, perfect for solstice. I think the idea that goes exact on the 24th is like, oh, my heart grew 3 sizes. So, yeah, awesome stuff. Awesome stuff. Before we get into the rest of the chart, let's look at the waning moon. And for those who want to take assessment of the waning moon, leave that up on the screen. Okay. All right, now we're back with the transits. Shortly after the waning moon, the sun squares the nodes. So this waning moon, December 22nd, 23rd, not a great time to start new projects. Recommended against. Get a couple of days. Actually, Christmas looks blessedly transit free. We'll be under the influence of Jupiter square Saturn, but there's no immediate activity. And then the day after, 26th, 27th, we have Mercury opposite to Jupiter and square to Saturn. Again, part of a T-square formation where at this time, we have Saturn square Jupiter, Saturn square Mercury, and Mercury opposite Jupiter. So we have Saturn T-squaring a Mercury-Jupiter opposition. This again, just like when the sun and moon did this, we can say this is going to correlate to difficulty accessing optimism, difficulty accessing positivity, or conversely, it could be false optimism. It could be, unfounded positivity or false positivity. But there could be some distortion to the sense of hope and the sense of being able to move forward. So, this is a month of ups and downs emotionally with Pluto Venus. We can know that that's the case. It's a month of intense full moon with moon activated by many stars at that time. And if these Jupiter Saturn formations lead to depression, whether it's just financial depression or, depression about emerging politics, depression about the structure of power, depression about the distribution of wealth. It will pass. It will pass. It will pass, but not before not before Venus squares Uranus and sextiles Eris at the end of the month. So we could have, right after Christmas, we could have like a pretty bad post-Christmas like funk, because this is just set up to be a little bit jarring and a little bit of a reality check and a reckoning. So Venus here, when we're closing out the month with these same transits we opened them, Venus with Uranus, Venus with Eris. Venus is our warm feelings and our good self-love and relationships with the people and animals and things that we love. And if this month is bookended by jarring change, kind of shake the tree there. I hope forewarned is forearmed. And this is the new moon on December 30th. So we have a delightful lack of intensity. If you ask me, this looks great. It looks like we might start to see something next year, early next year, that is starting to make more sense and be a little more level. But we'll have to find out next month. We'll come back for a full examination of that time. And yeah. Thanks for paying attention to the actual skies. Thanks for paying attention to this video. I'm always mentioning that you should join the community on Facebook at Radical Astrology. But if you don't do that or don't like Facebook, don't worry. The community is doing exciting things. So I want to hype some of the really cool projects and doings that are going on right now. Rio Arletta at Priestess Press has handmade block print 2025 calendars, planners, moon charts, all of them tuned to 13 sign constellational astrology. We'll throw some links up. We have rogueutilities.etsy.com and Priestess Press site. Put those on the screen and down in the description below. Rio Arletta's calendars are awesome. I have mine from 2024. It's quality block print and just excellent vibes and intention throughout the project. Elsewhere in the astro world, Maria Schumacher. Maria Schumacher is doing daily astro reports. I want to put her Patreon up. Patreon / Maria's Daily Chart. She does podcasts too on all topics astro and beyond. A podcast called Holistic Health Happy Hour with Julie Sherwood. They're co-hosting it. Julie Sherwood of Your Best Hopes Wellness Coaching. We'll have links in the description below to all these. But you can get on Maria Schumacher's Patreon. That's why I put that link up on the screen. And she does daily astro reports. You can literally in your inbox get daily reports. And if you want to learn to decipher and translate this language yourself, Dr. Danny Inman has a school at learndrdanny.com. She has a community at Fellowship of 13 Sign Astrology, and she's doing it. She's teaching people fluency. She's teaching people how to understand the patterns. It's wonderful, and I just want to big shout that out. And lastly, rising star in the community that I just want to bring attention to is Lily at Healing with Lily. So Lily McLaughlin. Healingwithlily.com is her site, and she has a YouTube channel at Healing with Lily. So all of those infos will be down in the description. And yeah, I think that's about it. So it brings me to Serena's fundraiser. She's been 18 months, can't work, hasn't received disability yet. Very challenging. So please, if you want to support her directly, the link to the GoFundMe put on the screen. If you want to support her indirectly, you can check out my website, One Sky Astro, learn about the services I offer, get a reading or, a transits report or a solar return or something. With me, all that money goes to support the well-being of Serena. So I think that's all. I think we're at the end. Friends, thank you. Bless you. Wish you an amazing month. And I'll see you for December 30th's new moon.